Welcome back to the Creating Victory podcast. Host Amy J chats with renowned alcohol-free coach Melissa McGovern, better known as the Sober New Yorker. Melissa shares her inspiring journey from a 90-day challenge to a new life mission. She truly is creating victory in any moment.
Hello, all my friends. It's Amy J here, and the Creating Victory podcast is back in full swing. And I have been working to coordinate with this extraordinary human, and we have a funny New York story we can share of how we met. And I want to first thank you all for listening, subscribing, sharing, wanting to create value in your lives amidst this seeming insanity we're in. But, as my good friend Shida Rivera used to say, stay in your lane. So I say this every time that I'm over the moon about the people I have on the show, but I'm really over the moon today. And I want to take a moment to welcome my new and amazing friend, Melissa, known as the Sober New Yorker. I'm just going to read so I don't mess this up. She is a super inspiring alcohol-free coach, speaker, and the unapologetic voice behind the Sober New Yorker, which is a brand and a podcast that helps high-achieving, badass women like you and you and you out there ditch the gray area drinking and build a life that actually feels as badass as it looks. There's a lot more to this. That's sort of her basic 911, and she's amazing and inspiring and living proof that you can create victory and make it happen. So, Melissa, it's great to see you. Welcome to the show. We did it.
Thank you, Amy. We did it. We've been talking about it for a while, and here we are. And we've already used the word badass twice. So, well, now 3 times. So, yeah, we should have a bet on over under how many times we're going to use it. It could be a lot.
It fits because I love this unapologetic because that's pretty much where I am. Take it or leave it.
Exactly.
So I love what you do as a differently sober, substance-free. It wasn't alcohol person myself. There's so many ways that we can redirect our lives from addiction, and you've done it. So can you share a little bit about your background, what it was like before, kind of what led you to this new path and all of that?
Sure, gladly. Well, thanks for having me again. Such a special treat to sit down with you and talk about the victories of life because as of late, as we're recording this, I'm coming up on 1,000 days of sobriety.
Wow.
I'm over 2.5 years since removing alcohol from my life, and that is a major victory. And it's honestly something that in my younger years, I always thought about doing. I made some attempts in the past 7 years, around 2016, 2017. I was really starting to get sober curious. There were some podcasts coming out and there were some books coming out, and those 2 words together, sober curious, were becoming somewhat of a buzzwords. And at the same time, I was also just getting older and feeling like shit after I drank. And not every time, but I was also acknowledging the fact that I just really wasn't a person that could have a couple glasses a week or even a couple glasses a night. It was becoming increasingly a part of my routine. And I used it to have fun. I used it to relax. I used it to de-stress. I used it for everything. And in 2018, when I saw my doctor, NYU Langone, shout out, Dr. Carmen Chitu, she's the best. She noticed my liver enzymes were elevated, and she said, take a break for 3 weeks and come back and we'll retest. And I didn't even know what liver enzymes were, but because I'm a rule follower, I took a break. I came back and I felt really good. And in those 3 weeks when I wasn't drinking, I felt more energetic. I slept better. I lost a few pounds. And it kind of gave me a glimpse of how it could be. So the next year, I kind of played around with trying to abstain for a little while, off and on. And right before the pandemic, I had 4 months where I didn't drink and I felt amazing. I was kind of taking part in an online community that was helping me keep accountable. But when that pandemic happened in New York, March 12th, 2020, something in my brain was like, gosh, I could really use a drink right now. I could use a drink. And it didn't ramp up all of a sudden. It was a slow burn into 2023, August of 2023, when I saw my doctor again. I knew I was drinking too much. I knew that I was struggling. I started waking up and wondering what it would feel like to not get out of bed. And I'd never had those feelings before. I hated the way I looked. I was heavier. I saw pictures of myself and I just didn't like the way I looked, but not enough for me to change things. So I told her I thought I was drinking too much, and she had known my struggles before. So we had a really open and honest conversation about it. And she didn't want to jump to conclusions before she took my blood work, but the proof was in the pudding, so to speak.
Numbers never lie.
Yeah, numbers never lie. And mine were atrocious. My liver enzymes were through the roof, but other things too, like cholesterol and my weight and my blood pressure. My A1C was up. I was near diabetic level. And she put in an email, unless you make drastic behavioral changes, stop eating so many carbohydrates, move your body more. Unless you do all these things, I'm going to put you on all sorts of medication. And I don't know, I just did not want to become someone who is dependent on medication in this country. I was 51 years old and I knew that I could turn my life around. And so that was August 14th of 2023. And in 3 months' time, I got busy, totally changing my life. And I went back to see her and was a completely different woman. All my numbers were down. I lost a bunch of weight. I felt amazing. And I knew that I just wanted to keep moving forward with this. So I have.
Amazing. And congratulations, first
Thank
of all, on you've segued into so many fascinating conversations within that story that I know are related. There's a few things. When I came through my rehabilitation with an eating disorder and speed, I did the kind of more typical route. I went into rehab. I needed at the time I needed a hard stop, and then 12-step. But I love this idea now of sober curious, because for a long time, it's like you go to 12-step and that's the only way, and you do this but it's like I say with diabetes, it's not a one size fits all. Addiction recovery isn't a one size fits all. And I think you exemplify that so beautifully. Is one thing I'd love to dive into, this idea of sober curious or doing it in steps, and also just the physiology. I know a few people that my own Al-Anon issues, I want to send them to you, and it's not really my place, but with the same things, I don't have a problem. But the weight, obviously the inflammation, we know that sugar and carbohydrate, which alcohol is what causes weight gain and inflammation, hence the cholesterol, the blood pressure, all of it's connected. So that was so wonderful that you had a medical doctor. I can say it blue in the face, but I'm just little Aim Jordan. So that's amazing. And that you wanted to seek out support as addicts and isolators. We want to just do it ourselves. So, I know this also opened up a whole other pathway. So where did that start to come from in terms of this amazing coaching? And
before the pandemic, when I was on that 4 months, I remember hearing about sober coaching, that was a thing. And I actually had an interview with a company. There's a woman called Annie Grace who wrote This Naked Mind, and she had a coaching cohort. And I met with someone, I remember, ironically, it was early March 2020, and it was on Zoom. And I said to my husband, what is this Zoom? What is Zoom?
I know. If we all were like, what is this Zoom?
Little did we know, 2 weeks later, everyone in the world would know what Zoom was. But, I met with him, and it just didn't, I have a really good gut. It didn't feel right in the time, but I kept it in the back of my head. And this next go around, the one I'm on for the rest of my life, I felt almost right away called on to take something like this on, to revisit that idea. I was listening to a podcast, and someone referred to a coaching program, and I wrote it down in the notes in my phone, and I went home and I Googled it, and I found this woman, and she had a different kind of cohort happening where it was like newly alcohol-free women finding what lights you up and your purpose. And that led me to realizing the job I had at the time, which was incredible. I was a caregiver for some elderly women, but it wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And ultimately, that little group, that cohort, it was called Become Emboldened. That was it. And I just signed up for it as a way to stay sober before I found my online communities, not AA. And it led me to this coaching program. And I just felt immediately drawn to it. I've always been the kind of person that people call up and say, hey, I got this going on. What do you think? And also as a way to keep me accountable. If I'm a coach, I'm taking this seriously. And if I'm helping other people achieve all of the goodness that I have found through removing alcohol, then I'm definitely not going back to it myself. So yeah, I just dove in head first and started this business. I found my Instagram handle when I was like 5 months sober. For some reason, the Sober New Yorker was available, which I still think is meant to be.
It's your mission.
Yeah, I just started cultivating a business and that suited my life. And I felt so good about it. I felt so positive. And so this is what I needed to do. I felt called to it, truly.
That sense of mission that we're all seeking, I think, especially in this post-pandemic pace that we're all still in.
Yeah.
I find it amazingly inspiring. And, again, there's so many avenues. We don't have to be stuck in one way. And you brought up a point. I also go through this with my own situations where I want to go back into old habits, and I don't. But what gets you through those moments where those thoughts come in? Or maybe what is it, the hall, if we're tired, angry, hungry,
hungry, angry,
lonely, tired. Our physiology's off. I had a nutritionist call it a chemical binge, it's like, so what tools do you have with the resources you have to stay moving ahead to get through those moments when it's just like,
That's a great question. I think early on for me, I listened to a lot of sober podcasts. I listened to read Quit Lit. That's literature about quitting, in this case, alcohol, memoirs and how-tos. And it really wasn't, though, until I found community. And that was really the turning point. And I found 2 different communities. One was all women, one was mixed men and women. And I turned on my camera and I shared and I cried and I just kept showing up. And I started cultivating these relationships. I started signing up for sober retreats. I went to Bali when I was 8 months sober and met some women that are still my closest friends today. And it was only 2 years ago. And yeah, the community aspect of it was huge for me.
I think that's so important. And I'm so excited that we're seeing a bit of a return in person. It's connected, but it's not, with getting these kids away from these phones and how to connect life to life and find purpose and get support. And also this idea of what we think and what's in our environment is how we're going to be. So if we're surrounded by like-minded people, then we're going to be able to continue or have a place to go.
Right.
rather than backslide or complain or get in all that. So it takes some work, and you're definitely actual proof. And I know I love your Instagram because you inspire me. Because I'm like, she's just is out there. She's fearless. Because I get like, oh my God, this social media. But you really use it in a way that's so embracing and positive, and it is so refreshing. So I personally thank you for that with all the madness going on social media. And I
Thank
know
you.
that you also, as a former performer, have been able, I love that you've gone back to dance and you've been able to open up all these other accesses of your being. And for those of us of a certain age sometimes, or certain physical limitations, it's like, oh, it's too late. But every time I see this, I'm like, come, Melissa, gosh,
So
I
fun.
love it. So how has that been, getting like re-embracing that part of you and performing? Didn't you do a show recently? And
Well, yeah, I didn't dance in the show, unfortunately, but yeah, it was a storytelling show. I have just like opened my world up to new experiences and embracing what life is throwing at me. Like, part of my thing, and this is like how I coach, I sat on my couch, chugging my wine, waiting for the end of the day, and day after day. And I live in this city, this incredible
I know.
city, for 30 plus years. And alcohol was keeping me so small in it. So, like, I view backstage that's my couch, hanging out backstage, watching other people get on with their lives. And when I ditched the booze, I got up off the couch and I started making my way to the front door and to get out into the world and to get to be center stage in my own life. And the dance is part of that, the speaking. I belong to the New York Toastmasters Club here in New York.
I'm joining because of you.
You should.
I
Oh my
did
God.
today.
Nate.
Thank
That would
you.
be amazing. That would be amazing. They would love you. And what else? I mean, yeah, the storytelling show, like, just whatever has crossed my path. And I want to start playing Mahjong. Everyone's playing Mahjong. I feel like I'm kind of called to play it, but I figure out when I have time to do it.
You're
But it's
also
just,
traveling.
I'm
You're all over the
traveling.
place. Where have you been? You've been like around the world.
I've been all over, and without drinking alcohol too. It's such a new opportunity to experience the world with a sober, alcohol-free lens. Has just been totally life-changing. But the dance class just rocks my world. When we met, we have to get to that story.
Oh, that's
But
a funny story.
I told you I was more of a, and you finished the phrase, mover. Yeah, I was a mover. I was an actress who moved well. And now I'm going to these dance classes, and I don't call myself
You're
a
a
mover.
dancer.
I'm a dancer.
Go on.
And
Heels. I mean,
I
Sheeta.
was buying dance shoes for the first time in 30 years. It was really,
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I've gotten out of my comfort zone. And it's been a process, because there have been times when I was in the front row and in my head and couldn't get it together, and tried to trade places with someone in the back. And I've come a long way with it. And my teacher, Megan Bowen, has really helped with that process. And I have now become the cheerleader in the class for so many others. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. So yeah, I'm all about the dance.
It inspires me. I'm going to find a way to get up in there.
I know. I told you I could carry you. Probably.
I'll do something. I'll figure it out. I miss moving. And like, if Melissa can do it, I could do it. It just looks so fun. I'm in my living room.
Yeah.
I know you've had these amazing physical improvements too, just from a medical standpoint. I'm sure there's dramatic. I have a colleague who is a social, I don't know, I don't drink alcohol, but 3 drinks at every meal and bottles of wine. And I don't know what's it's different for everyone, so I can't judge, but her observation of the physical situation, and again, I can't really speak directly to it, but I'm sure you've had amazing health-related outcomes as well.
Yeah, I have. And also the mental health is even more important than the physical health. I mean, yeah, physically you have to, it helps that you're not drinking and poisoning yourself, so you're not overeating, you're not overindulging, but the mental health part of it, the confidence that has come with it, and the growth and the energy and relationships are better. And I mean, the list goes on and on. And when we were talking earlier about what do you do to stay accountable when that feeling comes in, no, that's not to say that that feeling doesn't come in once in a while. Here we are in spring, New York, and all of a sudden you'll be seeing the Aperol spritzes and the oysters and the rosé and blah, blah, blah. The romanticizing of alcohol comes into play, definitely. But I will always keep very close how I felt, how it made me feel in the end. And that was not good. It was not me. I didn't recognize myself. And that really helps me. Instead of romanticizing the alcohol, I romanticize my sobriety. I really do.
That gave me a chill.
I look at the fact that I've created this incredible life because I've removed one thing. I've allowed space for so many other things to enter that there's no room for it. There's just no room for it. And even if it were to sneak back in, what I've created is so valuable that I do not want to risk that destructive behavior to come back in. I just don't. So I keep that door shut and I open it to other experiences.
I love these metaphors. That gave me a chill, closing the door and opening it to other experiences and just valuing your life. I know for me, it started when I really made a determination to honor my life. And then I naturally wanted to stop the behaviors that I was partaking in. The form doesn't really matter. It's all a similar mindset. And I did the 12-step route for a while, but then I found like I'm not doing this anymore. And to sit here and identify, for me, I know it works for a lot of people and everybody has their path. But for me, it was, I'm not comfortable standing up here day after day saying this is my route when I don't partake in this anymore. Either I've outgrown it or I just am ready to move on. So I love that I've created this whole space around creating victory and literally the power of movement, literally and figuratively. You are the embodiment of the power of movement. And you have to share how we met because this is such a New York story. I was thinking about, I mean, only in New York would this happen.
Only in New York. Well, also only with, I'll have you know that I have a friend who's always like, God, you recognize everyone on the street. How do you do that? And first of all, I'm just really observant. I'm not walking around looking at my phone. I actually watch where I'm going.
Where you're going. Amazing.
Yeah. And I always, if I run into someone that I know or recognize, for the most part, I will say something because that's just me. That's just what I do. I think I told you I saw BB Newworth on the Upper West Side, and she didn't look approachable. I didn't say hi to her. But so many other people, I do. And so I was on the Upper West Side dropping off something at the UPS right around the corner from where we ran into each other. Yeah. And I turned the corner and there you were. And I had seen your movie on an airplane. I don't remember where I was going. If there's an option to watch a movie or a show, I'll usually do it. It makes the time go fast. And it was about dance. I love dance. It was about New York. And I was mesmerized by that movie. So when I turned the corner and I saw you, I said, oh my God, and of course I didn't remember your name, but I said, I saw your movie, The Dance, right?
I forget that it's even out there. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah. And you And you're so tiny, and I'm really tall.
are.
So, but I recognized you immediately. And then I was like, oh, wait, when did I see that? And it occurred to me, yeah, on the plane. But you then asked me to do, you took a little video of me.
Testimonial, because it's freaking Amazon.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, okay. I'm fine with that. I'm talking to the video camera all the time. And just about how I recognize you. And I remember I was going to a dance class that night downtown in Chinatown. So this was probably like early summer last year that we met.
Last year, 2025.
May, June, maybe.
Then we kept running into each other in the neighborhood in Equinox, and
Yeah, right. So anyway, we connected on Instagram. The rest is history. We got together for coffee once. I mean, it is a very New York story, and I love it.
I know I do too. And I'm trying to do this and encourage others to just say yes and show up, even if it's uncomfortable, because we go through different phases. And I know I've been phasing out certain people in my community as my ideas and views are changing. And that space in between can be very uncomfortable. And we want to jump back to what we know. But if we just say yes, like that's where the magic happens. And this idea of getting out of your comfort zone. So you're this extraordinary human gift to the earth, creating value, making it happen. You are that. And thank you for all you do. Where can we find you if there's people that, are curious or maybe wanting to dip their toes in the water of looking at sober curious?
Sober curiosity. Yeah. Well, first of all, there's plenty of room for toes to be dipped in the water of being sober curious. No, really. And that's the fun thing about younger people. They're really not subscribing to getting blackout wasted on the weekends like my generation
did, right?
Yeah. So you can find me at The Sober New Yorker on Instagram. I'm also, that's my podcast, The Sober New Yorker, and it's my website, The Sober New Yorker. And that is me across the board. And come for the dance videos, but also stay for the badass, there we go again, sober, alcohol-free content.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's inspiring. Just when I've had enough, she pops up in my feed with this. You can feel the energy through the phone and the lightness and the brightness. And I was like, oh, I want to emulate this woman's aura. Like, let me be in your field. So thank you, Melissa, for being here.
You're welcome. I mean, but I want to say to you, Amy, like I stopped you for a reason that day, your story. And then I got to tell people, I met this woman, Amy. Aww. She literally got ran over by a bus. And people are like, what? I said, yeah, there's a movie about it and this and that. But your determination to come back, save your leg, like you fought for that. And even when we met for coffee, you don't hide your leg. You were wearing a skirt and you get people looking at you, and who the fuck cares?
Love your scars, bitches.
Exactly.
Where it lives.
So the feeling is mutual. You do this for that reason. I talk about what I do for that reason. Like, we don't have to hide in the shadows. We don't have to be covered in shame. We can just willingly talk about it because there's someone out there who needs to hear it always. So just had to get that in.
Thank you. Thank you to all of our listeners, subscribers, fans, friends. Thank you. Please download, share, join the mailing list. We'll have all of Melissa's info when we put this out. Stay tuned for more exciting things here at Creating Victory Podcast.